start with you. What is happening here? We heard those words from Donald Trump, and I remember thinking, that seems different than some of the rhetoric that he's used. And now we are looking at something completely different at Harvard. Legally speaking, when you see what this judge has done, what goes on from here?
Well, this judge put a temporary restraining order, and temporary is the emphasis here because he's not going to stop at that. So what the government has said is it's a retaliatory move by the Trump administration against Harvard. It's very obvious to everybody involved that they are no longer going to be able to enroll any foreign students because the Trump administration, through ICE and Homeland Security, is now saying that they're not going to allow Harvard to, I'm going to use old-fashioned words, to sponsor any foreign students, immigration visas or student visas.
Right.
So these students now, as a result of what Trump did, and it's temporarily restrained, and if they don't restore Harvard back to the position it was the day before, the students are going to have to matriculate at other American universities to be able to stay in the country, or eventually they're just going to have to leave. It's a really serious situation because for a U.S. president to be retaliating against a university in this method by looking for any sort of avenue to crack down on Harvard for not doing what the administration wants is really awful. And it's very consistent with a Donald Trump of the old days, because here you have this trophy property real estate developer who wanted to acquire all these trophy properties, and now he's going after the trophy properties of the United States. He went onto the board of the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C., another trophy property, and now Harvard, an institution from 1636 that has 5,800 patents issued to its faculty and 52 Nobel Prize winners from its faculty. Trump is slashing and burning Harvard University by doing this.
Pete, I do wonder, what does handicapping the world's sort of wealthiest university and one of the world's most well-known universities who, I mean, people come to America to go to Harvard, the best and brightest around the world. What does that do for America's competitiveness to sort of say, we don't want these students anymore?
Well, as I said last night, talking about this topic, Harvard made its bed in how they handled the rise of anti-Semitism on their campus. But I do want to talk briefly about what happened today with this judge, because imagine a judicial system that moved this swiftly for regular Americans. Or just Americans, quite frankly. 4 hours, not even 4 hours, from when Harvard filed that lawsuit to when the judge issued the restraining order, and then set 2 hearings for next week. There are defendants and plaintiffs in this country that wait literal years. Harvard has to wait about 5 days.
You need to check on one of them legal lists they have in the magazines that show the law schools. Harvard's #1. That's probably the judge.
I was just thinking that. I felt like they had to save and draft.
I'm just saying they are #1. Let me say what I'll say about Harvard. To continue the Chuck Rocha saga here, when I left that plant when it shut down, I went to work at the International, and they realized I didn't have a formal education. And I should have some basic understanding of things like the law and social movements. So they sent me to Harvard to an executive program. And I remember there encountering for the first time in my life, hayseed plowboy, foreign students. I'd never met a foreign student. I'd never stepped foot on foreign land. And something that stood with me when I was reading this today is that how much they love this country and how much they would tell me stories of what it's like in their country, where they can't speak up, where they have no freedoms, and how great it was that they were having this opportunity. It was many years ago. I didn't see any anti-Semitism. I'm not saying that that's not somewhere right now, but these people loved America more than a lot of my friends back home because we took it for granted. I'll put it on myself because I didn't understand all the freedoms that I had until they, a foreign student, told me how lucky I was.
You know what? Can I say something, though? And I really do agree with you. I mean, that was swift justice, you know, to have this happen so quickly. Harvard, it's not the same place anymore when you were there. I mean, Harvard's not completely without fault here. Even they've admitted they've made mistakes, and I think that's an understatement. To allow the anti-Semitism that proliferated on that campus, where one of the students, he just settled a lawsuit with them, Shabbos Kastenbaum. I met him and I heard his story. He had to attend classes with bodyguards at Harvard. He was threatened. He was prevented from going to class. He is not the only student. And for the government, federal government, to step in and monitor Harvard or admonish Harvard, I'm okay with that. That should be done. If black students were prevented from going to class, if black students were being threatened on campus and shunned and spit on and all these things that are going on, the federal government would step in. It's just the manner and method by which the Trump administration steps into things, which we see in everything they do. There may be good intentions in the beginning, but it always spirals into this ridiculous overplay of power.
And to be honest, though, that is a reality also for black students who are on a lot of campuses. I went to a predominantly white institution. I went to Michigan State. I told this story last night. The first time I was ever called an N-word was at Michigan State. And the Ku Klux Klan used to come there and recruit. I didn't see the federal government anywhere, all right? And so this is not to, I don't want to play the oppression Olympics, but what I am saying is that I understand that Harvard did not do its best or as much as they could have to stand up for the Jewish students on campus facing this reality. But the overstep here feels vengeful. It doesn't feel like, it feels like they're using anti-Semitism as a cover to punish Harvard for God knows what. I don't know for their existence. I don't know if Barron Trump just didn't get in. I don't know what it is. Like why? And because of that, it's unfortunately going to set a bad precedent for other places. Like, what if they don't like something that's happening at other institutions?
Yeah, but it sort of diminishes the anti-Semitism because it was so extreme. There's one thing about having protesters on campus who engage in free speech and support, if they want to support a terrorist organization, that's part of the First Amendment free speech. But when you actually take that to an extra step, this is going on now. I mean, I know you weren't college in yesterday, and you do look very young, and I know that. I appreciate that. But right now, to have students be in fear for their lives, to not be able to enter a building on campus that they're paying tuition to go to, it's just way too out of control what's going on with these students. Nobody should feel that way on campus. And for Harvard to be this crown gem of the United States in terms of education and faculty, not to educate their students, not to implement programs, not to punish any students for doing this to other students. You want to protest? Go ahead and protest, but do not block your fellow students from entering their classrooms. Do not push them around.
So let me just jump in here just really quickly, because I guess the big question is, why are you punishing all international students when this student body is made up of a lot of American students as well who took part in those protests? And I do want to add one more thing. The United States sold more educational services to the rest of the world than they sold natural gas. This is a huge moneymaker for the United States. You look at this and how much money they have, the United States has sort of exported, or if you will, imported, to have students come and take part in our educational system. And as Chuck said, it actually is to sell the American dream abroad as well. So Melik, how do you square this going after Harvard?
So I think, and I'm, amongst my panelists here, I'm the less smart one. Is that what Donald Trump said? I'm the less smart one here. But there are valid concerns, and you guys have raised this. There are valid concerns with how Harvard has handled the anti-Semitism issue. I think Claudine Gay probably is the biggest example of that in her hearing. So there is a valid role for the federal government. One of the things that attracted me to being embracing conservatism and becoming a Republican is this idea of small government. For me, what the Donald Trump administration has been doing when it comes to Harvard, this is aside from the anti-Semitism issue. This is trying to control the curriculum, trying to control the hiring, and at this point, controlling your enrollment. For me, that is very big government. That is not the small government conservatism that I actually embrace. And so I don't like what the administration is doing here, because it's hard to argue that it's not retaliation. And
that's what Harvard is arguing in court.
It's hard to argue that it's not retaliatory.
Yeah, it would be a different thing if the government stepped in and say, okay, here are some ways that we can help you deal with this problem.
Exactly.
That would be a totally different scenario and well within their reach. But again, this comes with the trust factor and the things we've already come out of this administration. Like you brought out, like if this were a hostile environment for black students, I got to be honest, I don't think the Trump administration would intervene.
Well, let's talk about that, because they do things like consent decrees when it comes to police reform. And coming up, we're going to talk about this. The Justice Department suddenly pulls back